Hi, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the order of operations with real numbers. Now, in a previous video that I'll link in the comments, we talked about the order of operations already. So I'm not going to dwell too much on that. Only just hop right into the examples. For this, we have, one sec. The best things to identify are the things. So we have a times, we have a plus, we have a divided by. That was a weird way to say it, but so we want to do this first, and then we want to do this, and then we can add them together. So negative 3 times 2 is equal to negative 6. Negative 10 divided by negative 2 is going to give us positive 5, which negative 6 plus positive 5 is going to give us negative 1. That will be our answer. So relatively simple, though it looks a little bit daunting at first. Same for this one. We have two brackets here, and well, we have brackets, and then we have two parentheses sets inside. Luckily, this one's already simplified. So what is 1 divided by 1? Well, that's sort of a trick question. Anything divided by itself is equal to 1. So 1 divided by negative 1, because this is what we have now, is going to equal negative 1, because there's a negative 1 on the top, and well, on the bottom in this case. And then that is going to be in our brackets, but it's already simplified, so we don't really need to worry. We have 14 divided by 2 divided by negative 1. 14 divided by 2 is equal to 7. 7 divided by negative 1 is going to equal to negative 7. So that is going to be our answer. This one, negative 7 to squared, is this one's also sort of a tricky one, a trick question. So we have two different things. We have parentheses negative 7 squared and negative 7 squared. When we look at it in this, we're thinking that negative 7, we're showing that negative 7 times negative 7 is like what we're doing. That is a really clunky way of wording. And then for this one, we have negative 7 squared, but it's going to be 7 squared. This negative sign comes afterwards. So it's going to be 7 times 7, which is going, both of these are going to give you 49. However, this one is going to be positive, and this one is going to be negative because this will drop down. So our answer is going to be negative 49 in this case. You're going to see some of these on your Hawks, and they're really annoying. You can plug them into your calculator. We'll go through the two different ways. So plugging it into your calculator, I really recommend being really thorough with it. So instead of doing 6 divided by 3, or 6 parentheses 2 divided by 3, what you want to do is 6 plus parentheses 2 divided by 3. Because that's really what it is, right? 6 and 2/3. We know that and is equal to r plus, and then 2/3, it can be written like that. And then you do plus 10 plus 1 divided by 2 plus 2 plus 7 divided by 9. And then once you have all of these, divide by 3, because there are 3 numbers. Then what we will do is, depending on your calculator, you might get a fraction, you might get a decimal. If you get a decimal, you probably want to switch it to fraction. And at least a scientific calculator that I have, which is a TI-30X and 2S, I don't know, there's a lot of numbers. If you press the second button, and then you press the PRB button, that will give you it from fraction to decimal, because the PRB button has F, arrow, D right above it. Anything that has like that F, arrow, D, fraction to decimal, is going to be your winner chicken dinner. When you get this, however, eventually it's going to turn out to be 6 and 35 54ths. It has this little U thing that just means and. However, I think it's a good idea to know how to do these. Even if it is a bit tedious. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is turn these all into improper fractions. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. So to do that, we have, we're going to times 6 by 3 in this case, because if you think about it, 3 over 3 is equal to 1, right? And we have 6 ones, right? Because 1 plus 1 plus 1, blah, dot, 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 to 6. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 6. And then for 2/3, well, first, so we have 6 3 over 3s, right? So we can times that by 6. And then we get 18 over 3. But we have to add it back to, we have to add the 18 back to this too. Because if we this is just 6, it's just 6. But we have something a little bit bigger than 6, a little bit smaller than 7. So what we're going to do is 20 over 3. And we're going to do the same process for the others. So that will be 21 over 2. And 18 plus 7. I'm not doing very good with the mental math today. Sorry. 25 over 9. And now we want to add these together, right? But we can't just do that yet. We have to make the denominators equal to each other. So we want to find the lowest common denominator. One of the ways that I like to do this is to, if you have more than one, more than 2, but also just, it works for 2 and above, I guess, is to times, it doesn't always work, but a jumping off point is to do 9 times 2, and that will give you 18. Conveniently, 3 fits into 18 6 times. If it was something like 4, it wouldn't really quite work. In that case, we'd have to go back to the drawing board. In this case, I'm just going to move forward with what we have. We'll have a unit later where we talk about finding the lowest common denominator and stuff like that. But for now, let's just focus on the fact that we have found 18. So we want to make sure all of these get the denominator 18. 20 over 3, we can times this by 6 over 6, and it's okay to do that because 6 over 6 equals 1, and timesing anything by 1 equals itself. It's just changing how it looks. So this is going to change to 120 over 18, 21 over 2. We can times 9 over 9 by this, and I don't know 21 times 9 off the top of my head. It's going to be 189, and it's going to be over 18. And then 25 over 9 times 2 over 2 is going to give us 18 on that bottom, which is what we want, which is going to give you 50 over 18. Then, when you add all of those together, 120 plus 189 plus 50, you're going to have, excuse me, 359 over 18. Now, we want to divide this by 3. When you're dividing fractions, what we can do is keep our first number normal, but we can flip the other side to its inverse because 3 is really just 3 over 1 because anything divided by 1 is itself. And when we're dividing, we can flip it to a multiplication sign. And just as long as we flip the denominator with the numerator, the inverse. So 359 over 18 times 3, which is 54. Sorry, I've been talking all day. Now this can be simplified more, and Hawks is probably going to want you to put it in to this proper fraction form. But first, we should simplify. We know from our answer that we previously got that 54 is the lowest denominator that we have because the fraction to decimal function on the calculator calculates that for us. So something that we can do now is we can turn it back. So 354 divided by 359 54 does not go into 35 any times, but 54 goes into, 359. 6.6 times. So if we do 6 and then do 54 times 6, we get 324. And then if we minus this, we get 35. So 6 with 35 over 54. And then just to make sure we have that correct, 35 over 54. That is going to be our average. 6 with, and 35 over 54. Those are really complicated and annoying, and I don't like doing them, but it's good to know how, and it's good to know how to plug it into your calculator as well. But yeah, that covers what I wanted to cover. If you have any more questions, please let me know. And yeah, have a good day.